Hi, everyone. Welcome to a bonus episode of the Culture Study Podcast. I am your host, Anne Helen Peterson, and I have two co-hosts with me here today. The first is
Margaret H. Willison, the culture study librarian, currently neck deep in Andy Cohen memoirs for our next issue of Zeitgeist Syllabus. And we are additionally joined by my dear friend from college and also vastly more impressive person, Catherine Van Arendonk. Catherine, do you want to tell them why you matter?
I can't imagine mattering more than being one of your longtime closest friends. But I am a culture writer at vulture.com, which is part of New York Magazine. And and I have a podcast. Actually, I have a new podcast that I do with my friend Alan Sepinwall, who is a longtime TV critic. It's called TV is Good. So those are places where you can go and find me and all of the things that I do.
I always am afraid to admit that I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, but that is a podcast that I would really, really like to listen to because I admire your work so much. I admire Alan's work so much. Like that, and I like hearing about TV, especially when it's not just dudes talking about TV, which is sometimes hard to
Only
find.
50% dudes. It's a great ratio.
It's an unusual ratio. And it's a fun podcast also because Alan and I have I think a really good Venn diagram of TV taste where there are some things that overlap perfectly and some things that are completely opposite. And so sometimes it's just us being like, yes, of course, this is the best thing we've ever seen. But then also it's like me attempting to explain what Love Island is to him and him just being deeply, deeply baffled. But he then also has this incredible long encyclopedic memory. So I'm really looking forward to an upcoming episode where he is going to explain to me something called Mrs. Columbo, which I have no familiarity with, but I'm very excited to learn.
That sounds like some incredible Gen X nonsense.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about the Netflix adaptation of Little House on the Prairie, which came out, by the time this episode comes out, it will have been released about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It's already doing very well on the platform, which a lot of premiere seasons do very well on Netflix and then drop off and are never heard from again. But that's another conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to start by discussing a little bit of our Little House positionality because Catherine does this in her review of the series. Catherine actually was the person who saw screeners and then texted Margaret, who texted me to say, the new Little House is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
we
think
should
it was
talk
something
about
like
it.
the new Little House whips was maybe the text that I got. And I was like, well,
And I was dubious. I was
Of
so
course.
dubious.
Of course. How could you not be deeply, deeply concerned about the words like there's a new Little House on the Prairie?
if you weren't deeply concerned about there being a new Little House on the Prairie and its quality, you might be disappointed by this one.
Yes.
Right? Because its positionality is very interesting. But Catherine, what's your relationship with Little House on the Prairie?
So as I wrote about in the essay that I did for New York Magazine, I grew up having these books read out loud to me by my mother.
Same.
It would probably have been 1993, 1994 when she was reading them. And she read most of the series out loud to me and to my younger sister. And I remember loving them very, very much. I grew up in Southwest Michigan, so it was not exactly this area of the country, but it was certainly familiar to me, to sort of big rural open spaces, and how easy it is to be very, very far away from anything else. And I was an American Girl kid also, so there was a lot of overlapping interest in the kind of material culture of the 19th century and rural 19th
Butter
century
churning.
places, 100% spoons. And so I loved hearing these books get read aloud. I was obsessed with all of their descriptions of digging wells and building doors and how much ribbons cost. And my experience was that my mom argued back to these books all the time.
Yeah.
She was as fascinated as I was by the descriptions, but she was also, as she would read, she would be like, why is Pa doing this? What is he thinking? Why would they ever be so far from town? That makes no sense. How are they going to survive? I remember the descriptions of how Pa could encircle Ma's waist with his
Yes.
2 hands, and her being like, oh, and I was like,
Just ridiculous diet culture, just like
Yes.
right there. in the
yes.
text.
And I remember and corsets. I remember that was like a long
Yeah.
thing about corsets that she went off on. And and so my whole, I mean, this is like a obnoxious way of saying this, but my experience of these books was dialectical from the beginning, right? It was like,
Yes. My mom read them as well, although this is like so funny to me. My dad popped in and read Farmer Boy.
oh, wow. Funny. Yeah.
I was like,
Did he also read you Little Men?
no, we did not. That was like the only book that I think my dad read to me in full. Like sometimes he would read, the chapters of whatever books we were on, but all the responsibility was ceded to my dad, Farmer Boy, which is such a weird. Like people don't talk about it really. Like there
No,
are all
it's
these
true.
these canon and non-canon books actually within this larger series. Like what my mom actually, the first time I can remember someone saying essentially that something was non-canon is her talking about the books that were released posthumously that were written by Laura about their life after the fact. And my mom's like, it doesn't really fit. She didn't really, you don't know if she wanted it to be published. It's not really up to the same quality. You shouldn't read it. I don't remember her as many interjections from her, but she was so into interjections. Like she made me watch MTV with her. That was the only way I could watch MTV. And I have like such a vivid memory of watching Counting Crows video for Mr. Jones. And they have like a flamenco girl in the back because there's that lyric. And my mom's like, do you see what they're doing? That's objectifying. Or like with Little Mermaid, she's like, why do you think she loses her voice? So I'll have to have a discussion with her about whether she did this. But I do love the way that the books to kids just feel like, oh my gosh, they're having so much fun. And if you revisit them as adults, you're like, Pa was a dilettante. Like he could
Paul was
not
a real
get his
Bronson
shit.
Alcott.
Yes. Oh, my God.
If Bronson Alcott had like a little bit more get up and go energy,
Well, yeah, Bronson
Yeah.
was committed. Like, Pa could not stick it out. And he was just perpetually
no.
being like,
Bronson was rooted. Bronson wasn't necessarily committed.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Margaret, did you read these as a kid?
So no, I did not read these as a kid. Or I should say, I think I probably read Little House in the Big Woods when I was very small. And the only thing I remember is the description of making like maple candy by like extracting the syrup and putting it in the snow.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's the kind of thing. It's like, of course, that's the detail I remember because that's what these books are in so many ways. And then I read Little House on the Prairie as an adult for my children's literature classes in library school.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, I 100% see the appeal of this narrative and these books. Like they're really, really well written, really well crafted. And then also, I understand why people have so many problems with them.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so interesting to watch this series. Are we, like, what is our policy on spoilers here?
I mean,
I think we could talk about spoilers because it's not like there's
These
anything.
books have been out for a minute. You know,
the books
more
have
than
been out for a
100
minute,
years.
yes.
Yes. So it's like I read this and I knew when at the end of this season they are forced to pack up and leave Independence and move on to yet another homestead. It wasn't a complete surprise to me, but I was also like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm so team Ma's sister Eliza being like, come home, have your baby in a civilized place where a doctor will be able to reach you and not stopped by a snowstorm.
You have community. Why are you moving to this place?
Yeah.
Right.
So the show was announced, I don't know, like a while ago.
Yes.
And there was pre-discourse about how it was going to be woke. And Megyn Kelly, I believe, said, like, if you ruin Little House on the Prairie, I'm going to, like, ruin your life, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to pause here. If you want to hear the rest of this bonus episode, go to patreon.com/culture study to become a paid subscriber. Super easy. You can do it for the month. You can do it for the year. You can add on to your newsletter subscription. Just do it and you can hear this whole fantastic conversation.